Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach Valentine, and for today's rules recipe, we're going to look at Carcassonne. The ingredients that make up Carcassonne are 84 tiles, 4 50 and 100 point scoring tiles, 40 meeples of 5 different colors, and a scoring board. To first set up Carcassonne, there will be one starting tile which has a black background and a white sea compared to all the other tiles that have the white background and the black sea. As you can see, this tile starts with a half a castle, a straight road, and an empty side. Each player then picks a color, and they get 8 meeples of that color, one of which will go on the 0 spot of the scoring track. Then the rest of the tiles should be stacked up into a pile or two, unless you have the second expansion, in which case you will pull tiles from a bag. Then, starting with the first player, they'll take the top tile from the stack and have to choose where they wish to place it. In this case, they could place it there, here, here, or even there. Basically, the tile you add must match the sides of previous played tiles. Some of the tiles you may encounter during the game are monastery tiles, tiles with roads on them, and also pieces of the castle, some of which even have a shield icon on them. After choosing a place to place a tile, you have the choice to put your meeple on that tile. In this case, you'd be able to put him on a monastery. If you had just played a road piece, you could place your meeple on the road. Or if you had just played a castle piece, you can add your meeple to the castle. One thing you are unable to do is add a meeple to an area that already has a meeple that controls it. So in this case, this road is all connected. So I cannot add another meeple to that road. And also, this castle is already occupied by someone, so I cannot add the worker to this castle. However, another option you may explore is laying down a meeple in a pasture. This meeple will be stuck here for the rest of the game. And like other locations, you cannot directly add a farmer to a field that already has a farmer in it. You can, however, place him in that farm, as it is separated by this road. After scoring a city, much like after scoring a road or possibly a monastery, you will be able to lift your meeple back up and add them back to your collection. A road is completed when both ends end off at either a monastery, a village, or the road creates a loop. Roads score 1 point per tile. So in this case, the red player would score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. And like I said before, since it's completed, they'll get their meeple back. It's much more difficult to score a monastery, because to score it, you must have it completely surrounded by other tiles, and it'll score the number of points for the tiles surrounding it plus itself. So typically, if this happens during the game, it would score 9 points, and you'd get your meeple back. However, if at the end of the game, if you still have a meeple on a monastery, you will score the number of points for the tiles surrounding it and for the tile itself. So in this case, if this was the end of the game, the blue player would score an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. Much like monasteries, if roads are still uncompleted at the end of the game, you will score a point for each tile of road piece. And the castles are similar. However, you will only score 1 point per castle piece instead of 2, along with 1 point per shield instead of 2. Throughout the game, you may find opportunities where you can join 2 occupied features together. Like in this case, I joined this red occupied road with this blue occupied road. Then, when this feature is scored, you'll check who has the most influence on the road. Here you can see there's 1 red meeple and 1 blue meeple on this completed road. So both the red and the blue player will get full points for this road. Much like the roads, cities can also be combined. Before we had placed this city piece, blue occupied this city by himself and red occupied this one. However, now they both have one meeple worth of control in this entire city. So if it is later completed, they would both get the full points of the city. If blue had placed a new city directly besides there and later was able to obtain this tile, we would check the influence of meeples in this completed city, and blue would have 2 influence while red would only have 1. So blue would score the entire city to himself. The farmers you've placed throughout the game will only be scored at the very end once all tiles have been drawn off the stacks or the bag and have been placed onto the map. One of the hardest things to score in the entire game is the farmers. So I recommend maybe in your first couple playthroughs you might not use them. However, once you have enough plays under your belt and you start playing with the farmers, they are scored only at the end of the game. To score a farmer, you will see the entire field cut apart by cities and roads that a farmer occupies. Here, the blue player thought he was going to have this field all to himself. However, with this monastery placed here, this field actually extends all the way to the red player. So they both have influence in this entire field. And the fields matter because for every completed city within the field, you will get 3 points. So ideally, you would like to get in a field where there are a bunch of small completed cities in it to take full advantage of your farmers. However, be wary to not place your farmer too soon, because it may end up that you might just get cut off and not have any cities, and you just dedicated your farmer to nothing. After all tiles have been placed and farmers have been scored, along with any uncompleted roads, cities, or monasteries, the person with the most points wins the game. If players are tied at the end, well, that's just too bad, and you're going to have to play another game of Carcassonne because there's no tiebreaker. That was a brief rules explanation of Carcassonne. If you have any other questions on the game, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching.